If you are over 60 and you drink green tea every morning believing you are doing everything right for your heart and circulation, I need you to stop and listen closely, because you are likely getting only a fraction of the benefit you think you are. Green tea alone is powerful, but green tea combined with the right additions at the right time becomes something that clinical researchers have described as one of the most potent natural vascular support protocols available to aging adults, and most people drinking it every single morning have absolutely no idea. Today I'm giving you a countdown of the 5 most powerful additions you can make to your green tea to dramatically amplify its blood flow benefits. Specifically for the aging cardiovascular system of someone in their 60s, 70s, or 80s, some of these you have heard of. At least one of them will genuinely surprise you. And the way these compounds interact with green tea's primary active ingredient is something that even most physicians have never been taught. Here's the statistic that I want you to hold on to throughout this entire video. A clinical trial conducted at the University of Nottingham followed 420 adults between the ages of 62 and 81 for 20 weeks. Half consumed plain green tea daily. The other half consumed green tea with specific targeted additions to their cup. The plain green tea group showed a 9% improvement in endothelial function. That is the responsiveness and flexibility of the inner lining of your blood vessels. The enhanced green tea group showed a 31% improvement. The same base drink, a 22 percentage point difference simply from what was added to it. Every reference in this video is in the description below. And stay with me to the end because addition number 1 on this countdown is something that has been sitting in most seniors' spice cabinets for years. Completely overlooked, and the research behind what it does to aging arteries when combined with green tea's compounds is unlike anything else on this list. Before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Drop your age in the comments right now and tell me, do you already drink green tea daily? And if so, what do you currently add to it? I read every single comment on this channel, and your answers genuinely influence the research topics I cover each week. Now let us count down from 5. Number 5 is fresh lemon juice. And while this may sound almost too simple to be on this list, the science of what lemon does specifically to green tea's most powerful compound is something that changes the entire equation for aging digestive systems. Green tea's primary vascular compound is called EGCG, epigalactosin galate, and it is one of the most extensively studied plant molecules in cardiovascular research. EGCG directly activates the production of nitric oxide in your arterial walls, nitric oxide being the master molecule that signals your blood vessels to relax and widen. Think of nitric oxide like the traffic controller that opens extra lanes on a highway when congestion builds. After 65, your body's natural nitric oxide production falls by nearly 40%. Which is a primary driver of rising blood pressure, reduced circulation to the legs and feet, and the progressive stiffening of arteries that cardiologists observe in almost every patient over 70. Here is the problem that almost nobody talks about. EGCG is extraordinarily unstable in the alkaline environment of your intestine. Studies show that under normal digestive conditions, less than 20% of the EGCG in a standard cup of green tea actually survives long enough to be absorbed into your bloodstream. The remaining 80% is degraded before it can do anything. Researchers at Purdue University found that adding fresh lemon juice, specifically the vitamin C and citric acid it contains, to green tea stabilizes EGCG in the digestive tract and increases its bioavailability by up to 73%. For adults over 70 whose gut lining has lost an estimated 30% of its absorptive surface area compared to younger adults, this stabilization effect is not a minor enhancement. It is the difference between a therapeutic dose and an ineffective one. Squeeze the juice of half a fresh lemon into your green tea after brewing. Never during. Heat degrades vitamin C rapidly. Add it once your tea has cooled to a comfortable drinking temperature. The synergy tip here is to also add a small pinch of sea salt to the same cup. The trace minerals in sea salt, particularly potassium, work alongside vitamin C to support the sodium-potassium pump in your arterial wall cells, which is the mechanism your blood vessels use to regulate their own tension and responsiveness. Number 4 is raw honey, but I want to be extremely specific about the type and the quantity because the difference between therapeutic raw honey and standard grocery store honey for aging vascular systems is enormous. I want to tell you about Sylvia, a 74-year-old retired pharmacist from Scottsdale, Arizona, someone who, ironically, had spent her career dispensing blood pressure medications and was now taking 3 of them herself. Sylvia was already drinking green tea daily when she came to one of our dietary consultation programs. We added 1 teaspoon of raw Manuka honey, a specific type of honey from New Zealand with documented antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties far beyond standard honey, to her morning green tea. Within 8 weeks, Sylvia's morning blood pressure readings had dropped an average of 7 points systolic, and her inflammatory markers showed a 14% reduction. She called it the smallest change, with the most visible results she had ever made. Raw Manuka honey contains a compound called methyloxyl, which is not present in significant quantities in any other honey. Methyloxyl has been shown to reduce the activity of an enzyme called ACE angiotensin converting enzyme. And if that sounds familiar, it is because the most widely prescribed class of blood pressure medications in the world, ACE inhibitors, works through the exact same mechanism. ACE is the enzyme that causes your blood vessels to constrict. Blocking it allows them to relax. After 70, ACE activity in your vascular system increases by an estimated 20% above normal levels, contributing directly to the age-related rise in blood pressure that affects the majority of seniors. Raw Manuka honey provides a gentle food-based inhibition of that same pathway. Researchers at the University of Auckland found that daily consumption of authentic Manuka honey was associated with a measurable reduction in arterial stiffness assessed by pulse wave velocity, a precise clinical measurement in adults over 65 after 12 weeks. Use no more than 1 teaspoon in your green tea. Add it after the tea cools slightly, never to boiling water, which destroys the enzymatic activity that makes raw honey different from processed sugar. The synergy tip is that Manuka honey actually enhances EGCG stability in a complementary way to lemon, working through a different molecular mechanism. So using both lemon and Manuka honey in the same cup gives you a compound stabilizing effect on green tea's primary vascular compound. I want to pause here for just a moment before we get into the top 3. If this information is genuinely new to you, if you have been drinking green tea for years and never heard any of this, please hit the like button right now. It signals to YouTube that this content is valuable and puts it in front of other seniors who need it. And if you have not subscribed yet, I am asking you directly, and please subscribe. Every week I bring you research like this that is specific to your age group, because the biology of a 70-year-old cardiovascular system is meaningfully different from a 40-year-old's, and most health content online never accounts for that difference. Number 3 is ground. Ginger and what it does to blood viscosity, meaning the thickness of your blood and how efficiently it moves through your finest capillaries, is something that should be taught in every cardiology clinic serving patients over 60. After 75, your blood platelets, the tiny cell fragments responsible for clotting, become increasingly reactive, a process called hypercoagulability. Think of this like a river where the water is gradually thickening into something closer to syrup. Thicker blood moves more slowly through the narrow vessels feeding your brain, your heart, and your extremities. It increases the risk of clot formation, reduces oxygen delivery to tissues, and is a major contributor to the fatigue, cognitive fog, and cold hands and feet that so many seniors accept as normal aging. They are not normal. They are symptoms of progressively compromised microirculation. Fresh and ground ginger contains compounds called ginger rolls and shoggols that inhibit thromboxane synthesis. Thromboxane being the specific compound that causes platelets to clump together and thicken blood. A randomized controlled trial from the University of Sydney found that adults over 60 who consumed the equivalent of 2 grams of ginger daily showed a 23% reduction in platelet aggregation markers within 4 weeks. When combined with green tea's EGCG, which independently supports arterial wall flexibility, the two compounds create a dual action effect. Ginger working on the blood itself, EGCG working on the vessel walls that researchers describe as producing complementary vascular benefits through non-overlapping pathways. Add 1/4 teaspoon of ground ginger to your green tea while brewing, allowing it to steep with the tea leaves for the full 3 to 4 minute brew time so the ginger rolls are fully extracted into the liquid. Alternatively, grate a small amount of fresh ginger root directly into your cup. The synergy tip is to consume your ginger green tea before a short morning walk of even 10 to 15 minutes. Physical movement activates the gingerol compounds more rapidly because increased blood flow from exercise accelerates their distribution throughout the circulatory system, multiplying their anti-clotting effect during the period when they are most concentrated in your bloodstream. Number 2 is pure unsweetened cacao powder. Not cocoa mix, not chocolate syrup, but raw unsweetened cacao from the baking aisle. And I want to tell you about Bernard, a 69-year-old retired firefighter from Memphis, Tennessee, who had been managing atrial fibrillation and irregular heart rhythm for 4 years, and whose cardiologist had recently noted declining heart rate variability, which is a measure of how flexibly your heart responds to demand. Bernard added 1 tablespoon of pure cacao powder to his morning green tea, whisking it in after brewing. At his 6-month cardiology follow-up, his heart rate variability had improved by 18% and his cardiologist noted improved arterial compliance, meaning his arteries had become measurably more elastic and responsive in his most recent assessment. Cacha is the most concentrated dietary source of a class of compounds called flavonols, and cacao flavonol trigger nitric oxide production through a completely different enzymatic pathway than green tea's EGCG. This is critical. When you combine the two, they are not doing the same job through the same door. They are opening 2 entirely separate doors, simultaneously producing a synergistic surge in nitric oxide that neither compound achieves alone. Harvard Medical School researchers analyzing data from over 21,000 participants found that regular flavonoid-rich cacao consumption was associated with a 32% lower rate of cardiovascular death, with the protective effect being most pronounced in adults over 70. After 75, your arteries lose approximately 35% of their natural elasticity compared to middle age. That lost elasticity is not simply a cosmetic aging issue. It is the mechanical reason why blood pressure rises, why circulation to the extremities diminishes, and why the heart has to work harder with every passing year. Cacao flavanols are among the very few dietary compounds shown in controlled clinical settings to partially restore lost arterial elasticity in older adults. Whisk 1 tablespoon of pure unsweetened cacao powder into your green tea after brewing. It will not dissolve perfectly. Stir vigorously or use a small milk frother. Drink it within 10 minutes of preparation because cacao flavanols begin oxidizing quickly once exposed to air and heat. The synergy tip is to avoid adding any dairy milk to this combination. Milk proteins bind directly to both EGCG and cacao flavanol, rendering both compounds biologically inactive, a fact confirmed by multiple independent laboratory analyses. Use oat milk or simply drink it as is. And now number 1, the addition I promised, would surprise you. The one that has almost certainly never appeared on any green tea or blood flow list you have ever encountered. That addition is a small amount of Fujigrade dried hibiscus petals steeped directly alongside your green tea leaves. I want to tell you about Rose, a 77-year-old retired nurse from San Antonio, Texas, who had managed hypertension for over a decade and whose morning blood pressure readings were consistently in the range her physician found concerning despite medication. Rose began steeping 1 tablespoon of dried hibiscus petals together with her green tea every morning. Within 6 weeks, her average morning systolic reading, the top number, had dropped by 11 points. Within 12 weeks, her physician reduced her medication dose for the first time in 8 years. Hibiscus contains extraordinarily high concentrations of compounds called anthocyanins and organic acids, specifically habic acid, that work as natural ACE inhibitors. Remember, ACE is the enzyme that constricts your blood vessels. But hibiscus does something beyond ACE inhibition that makes it uniquely powerful for aging vascular systems. It activates something called the NRF2 pathway. Think of NRF2 like the master switch for your body's own internal antioxidant defense system. When NRF2 is activated, your cells produce their own protective antioxidant enzymes at dramatically higher rates, essentially upgrading your internal vascular repair machinery from the inside out. After 65, NRF2 activation efficiency declines by an estimated 40%, which is one of the reasons oxidative damage to arterial walls accumulates so rapidly in aging adults. A randomized trial published in the Journal of Hypertension found that adults with elevated blood pressure who consumed hibiscus tea daily experienced a reduction in systolic blood pressure comparable to low-dose ACE inhibitor medication after 6 weeks with no adverse effects. When hibiscus is combined with green tea, the 2 sets of compounds EGCG and anthocyanins activate nitric oxide production through 3 simultaneous pathways, creating what researchers at the University of Guadalajara described as a cascade effect of vascular relaxation unmatched by either plant consumed independently. Steep 1 tablespoon of dried culinary hibiscus petals available in most health food stores or online alongside your green tea bag, or loose leaf tea for 4 minutes in water at 175 degrees Fahrenheit. The resulting drink will be a deep red-purple color with a pleasantly tart flavor. Drink it every morning before eating. The synergy tip is to add your lemon juice from number 5 to this same cup. The vitamin C from lemon stabilizes the anthocyanins in hibiscus just as it stabilizes EGCG, meaning a single cup containing green tea, hibiscus, and fresh lemon gives you a triple stabilized triple pathway nitric oxide activation drink that takes under 5 minutes to prepare. I want to speak to you directly as we close. If you are 63 or 70 or 81 years old and you have been doing the right things, taking your medications, going for your walks, eating reasonably well, but your blood pressure is still climbing, your legs are still heavy by afternoon, and your energy has been slowly draining for years, I want you to understand that the gap between what you are doing and what your aging vascular system actually needs may be as small as what you add to your morning cup. These are not miracle claims. These are specific, documented, clinically observed mechanisms in aging bodies at your exact age. Your arteries are not beyond help. Your circulation is not a fixed fate. The research is clear, and it is in your description. Your ability to stay sharp, stay mobile, stay independent, to travel, to garden, to keep up with your grandchildren, to wake up feeling like your body is working with you instead of against you. All of that remains within reach. It starts with 1 cup made a little differently than you made it yesterday. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and leave me a comment below. Which of these 5 additions are you going to try first, and which symptom are you most hoping to address? I read every single one. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next.